Hello guys, how is it going? This is Ryan Ball. I am the director of the Blue Orb as well as a screenplay artist, but most of all I am the visual effects artist on the production. Alright, I'm going to be showing you how we do some simple muzzle flares. That's basically all it is. So here we got a clip of a character, your subject, coming down. He comes in and he shoots a little bit. Nothing too fancy, he just shoots just a bit. Alright, so we're going to put a muzzle flash on there because obviously we want it to look like he's actually shooting. Otherwise it'll look, it'll be weird. So we're going to go, what I just did there was I right clicked on it and I hit replace with After Effects composition. So, you can do this with other programs rather than After Effects as long as it can composite video. It will work. I think After Effects is the best one though. So you see I got all my files in order to organize it. This one is going to be called, I believe it was called Capture 7. So name it whatever you want to name it. Save it in the file and there we go. Alright, we got our composition here. And like you just saw before, it's the same exact thing. Your subject comes down and he shoots right about here and he stops. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this little workspace down to where he starts to shoot. That's a good part, and we're going to render that. Just let that go through. Okay, now we got it nice and smooth, so that's in real time, almost real time. We can get it, there we go, that's real time. Perfect. Alright, it's going to be a little choppy when I just rendered, but if I were to completely preview it, it's very nice. Alright, so we need to get a muzzle flare. So you can get any of these muzzle flares. It's called stock footage, and you can get these things off of just the internet anywhere. I got the Action Essentials pack from Video Copilot. It comes with a lot of different things: atmosphere, blood, charges, explosions, dusts, fire, glass, smoke, powder, particle, wall hits, everything basically imaginable. It's not a gigantic pack, but it is a very good place to start. And they just got some muzzle flares right here. So I'm going to look at number one. Nah, this one looks fine, but it's to the side, and obviously my subject is in front of me, so we need to find one that has automatic fire in the front. Kind of like this. This works perfectly fine, I think so. I'm going to look at number 5 just to see what that looks like. Nope, that's from the side, and that's actually silenced. I think we're going to probably go with 4. Yep, we're going to go with 4. So click and drag 4 into your project bin. And here we go, we got it right here. Can render that. That is not in real time. There we go. Now it is. Alright, so we got that. So to put it into our composition, the actual clip, we're just going to click and drag it right where we want it. I'm going to hide this just for very quick, and I'm going to, let's see, I shoot right about there. I'm going to start it right here. Alright. Put the layer back on. Just take the little muzzle flare. We're going to center it right on top of that. I'm going to hit T. That's the hotkey for opacity. And temporarily we're going to move the opacity to 50%. Just so I can see where my center is. And I want to make it maybe just a little bit bigger because it is kind of dark. Not too big because it's not gigantic. I'm going to kind of warp it just a bit so it looks like it's coming a little bit more out of the gun and not so flat. That's good. Alright. Click back on our layer. I'm going to hit P to position, and we're going to hit the stopwatch right here. This right here makes it keyframe. Basically, this is animating the this is going to animate this. Going to hit page down to go forward a frame and page up to go backwards frames. And we are going to animate this so it keeps it on the center of the gun every single shot. What you could do is you could actually do it every time you see the gun, the muzzle flare actually pop up, rather than every single frame, because I could probably save some time, and it sometimes might look better with the smoke, which is actually probably what I might do. So I'm gonna get rid of this, gonna get rid of this one, that's there, gonna get rid of this, gonna get rid of this, because then it moves a little bit slower and it won't be so sudden, and you will be able to see it and it will look really nice. Alright, there we go, perfect. We can go back to the T, to opacity, and bring it up back to 100%. And you can see if I render this, that we got ourselves a nice little muzzle flare. Alright, pretty good, pretty good. One thing I do want to change about it is I feel like it's a little bit too small. It's weird. It seems like it should be a little bit bigger. And it looks fake. I'm sorry. It looks fake. Like, it does not look like it should be in the scene. So, to fix that, let me just render this through a little bit to make sure it keeps tracked. And that looks good. Alright, cool, cool. It looks good. Alright, but I gotta say though, like, it does not look real. You see, the edges are too hard. It's not very... It looks like I took a picture and I put it onto a video clip. This is exactly what I did, but we don't want that though. We want it to look realistic. So, we go to our layer. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to go to blending mode. I normally use screen or lighten or add. I'm going to try add, and no, definitely not add. That loose. Then I'll try lighten. Nope. It's better, but it's not good. Normally screen does the best because it gets rid of all the black. As you can see now, compared to what it was before, which is nothing, you can really see a difference on this. It just, wrong one, my bad. It just looks so much more blended and like it's supposed to be there. And because of its quickness, I don't need to bring down the opacity at all. But that looks a lot better. Way better than it did before. Alright. Okay, so that is good. But, you know, if you look at the lighting over here in this area, this is really bluishy. This is kind of bluishy. Even up here where the sun is reflecting off of the camera, it's kind of bluish. This is yellow. I mean, yeah, it's a muzzle flare. It's supposed to be hot and fiery, but it's too yellow for the scene. So all we gotta do to fix this, it's very simple. We're going to type in our effects and presets. We're gonna type in curves, and we're gonna click and drag that right on top of the file. And we're gonna go to our blue. Just bring it up from the center, just a tad, just very, very, very little amount. Probably actually make it a little bit more in the highs rather than the lows, because we're fine on the lows. It's the highs that we kind of very slightly, very, very, very slightly. If I turn that off, it's barely a difference. You know, you can barely even tell. I don't even know if you can see the difference there, but it just makes it slightly, ever so slightly cooler. I'm even going to go to the red, and I'm going to bring that down from the lows. No, we don't. Not that much. Alright, maybe go to the highs, actually. Alrighty, yeah. So you may not be able to see that on the thing, but it just kind of cools it down, makes it look a little bit less harsh, which makes it seem like this should be in the scene. Alright, there's that. Cool, cool, very cool. I don't know about you, but I kind of want to add. I want to kind of maybe up the contrast just a bit. Contrast, just very, very slightly, because I don't know, like bring down the brightness, or yeah, we'll just leave that there actually, and up the contrast. I normally just kind of mess with it just to see what it might look like. Sometimes it doesn't always look amazing. Like that barely did a difference, but I mean, I only put it by 1 and 1, but I really don't need it. It looks fine. But sometimes I just like to try things out, just to test it, see if it might work, make it feel better. But I like the way that is. All right. One thing I do want to add is a little bit more smoke. So we're going to go back into our Action Essentials pack, or whatever you have, and not hit smoke, because smoke is a little bit different. That's more like atmospheric smoke, so that's going to be wisping across the ground and whatnot. We don't want that, no. So this will either be in powder hits or particle hits. Most likely powder hits. I'm going to try 6 out. Let's see what 6 looks like. It's alright, it's alright. Powder hits 5. Let's see what this one looks like. Nope, definitely not that one. Let's try 4. I think 4 might do it. Yes, that's a good one. That is a very good one. So we're going to click and drag that one back into our projects bin, and we're going to click and drag the powder hits right underneath that. And After Effects has this cool thing called parenting. It's basically taking all the keyframes of the first layer and it's going to copy and paste it onto this one without you doing any work. So I'm just going to parent that to automatic fire, and then I'm going to click and drag that to the center, maybe make it a little bit bigger, and it will automatically track it perfectly for us. Yes, that looks good. That looks good. Just a little bit of smoke adds a nice touch to that. It makes it feel like it's kind of exploding. I do want to bring down the opacity a bit though, because there wouldn't be that much smoke. I'm sorry. And I'm gonna go to tint. Tint. Drag that to that file or layer. Make a little bit of blue to this, very slightly. Very slightly. It just kind of makes it blend in more. I might even screen this. Yes. Alright. That looks good. Let's see how that looks. Yes, alright, that looks good. You can barely even tell, which is the exact point. It's like makeup. You do not want to be able to tell that it's there. If I hit the minus though, you will see a difference. It just kind of adds something that people don't catch. Yeah, you won't catch it if it was. No one will see the difference if they're watching it for the first time. That's the whole point. But some people like to look into it and they like to delve and rip movies and whatnot apart, and that's when you really got to put down what you like, all the little details. But the first run through, it's just gonna look like it's actually coming out of the gun, and that's what we want. So basically, if you ever go and start doing visual effects, don't make it look, don't make it so overdone that you can see it. I know you want people to understand that you put a lot of work into it, but just like makeup, you don't want to overdo it. Otherwise, it's gonna look really cheesy and fake. Alright, so we got that. Now, there is one thing we're missing here. I don't know if you can catch it. Let's just watch it just a couple times. Let me know if you can see anything. Alright, well, I'll let you know what we're seeing, or what we're missing. And that's the light. Nothing's lighting up. Like, if you ever watched a gun go off on a movie or on a TV show, whatnot, whatever, Walking Dead, like, things light up around it. It's just like a light. When you turn a light on, things light up. So really what should be happening is our subject here should be lighting up, stuff on the wall should be lighting up over here, and maybe even just a hint on the right side. Not that much though. So, this is kind of the hardest part about this entire effect. So, what are we going to do here? What we are going to do here is we're going to cut this layer, our normal layer, the raw footage, and we're going to cut that right where the effect starts. Alright, now we are going to right click it, and we are going to hit add. And please excuse me, I did mess up. We should actually first we should duplicate it, then cut it, and then we can delete this one. Alright, so we duplicated the original layer, cut it where the effect is, and I hit add. Where the blending mode is, add. Alright, doesn't look like anything yet. So I hope that makes sense. We duplicated this, we cut it where the effect starts, and then I right clicked it, went to blending mode, and I hit add. Now, we have to go to up here to our pen tool. This is basically like a mask. If you ever work with Photoshop, this is masking. It's kind of like that, but you have to do it for every frame now rather than just one picture. Still. Alright, we are going to draw a little bit of illumination where the subject would probably be getting lit up from. It doesn't have to be necessarily perfect, but it does have to be legit. Now, obviously, you're Ryan, this looks like crap. What the hell are you doing, man? Yes, I know it looks like crap. Everything looks like crap in video effects when you first start it. This obviously is not what would happen. Just bear with me and I'll get to it. We are also going to go to our rounded or ellipse tool. We're going to draw kind of where the center is over there. We're going to draw and kind of match it up with the angle of the wall. A light right there too. Match up with the angle of the wall. There we go. Alright. I'm going to double click it, and now that we match that up, and kind of make it a little bit bigger. Move it down. Probably actually match it up even more to the wall, because we really want to make sure that looks good. Alright, that looks just about right. We're going to leave that there. And anything on the right side, I'll get to it if needed. So, mask 1 is this one up here. Mask 2 is this one down here. I'm only going to work with mask 1 so far. We're going to go down to feather. And we're going to feather this just a bit, so it makes the edges kind of smooth out, not be so harsh and rough. And now you're seeing how this is going to look. I might bring down the opacity just a bit, back to about the 77, and bring this, there we go. Looks good, looks good. Looks pretty good. Alright, I like that. Now we're going to go to mask 2, and we're going to do the same exact thing, but we're going to feather this one a lot more, because this one is on a wall and it's not as close. I might actually bring the expansion and kind of bring it outward a bit, and then we're going to feather this even more. Feather, bring the expansion in. You just kind of have to play around with it. I'm going to maybe bring the opacity down a little bit too. So it's very subtle. So if I were to get rid of this layer, you can see that this stuff is lighting up accordingly. And it's looking pretty cool. Looks really nice. I don't like how bright this one is, so I'm going to feather that a lot less. I'm going to bring down the opacity. I'm going to feather it out more, and I'm going to see what that looks like. Does that have a difference? Yes, it does have a difference. So basically my strategy is to see what it looks like, mess with the settings until you can't see it anymore, and then turn off the layer and see if you can see a difference. If you can see a difference, you're good, because your eyes are going to adjust to it. You're going to not see a difference, but when you turn it off, you will see a difference, as you can see right here. This can be a little bit more brighter because it's right next to the subject. Alright, but one problem: the light doesn't match up with how this guy's moving, and it just kind of stays there. That doesn't really make that much sense. Okay, well, let's fix that. We're going to go back to our mask and turn that on. mask 1, and we're going to hit mask path, and just like we did with the automatic fire gun effect, we're going to hit the stopwatch and we're going to keyframe this. We're going to move, and I only do it to where this muzzle flash is lit up. So we got a keyframe here. Cool. Got a keyframe here. Yes. Off. Who cares? Doesn't matter where it's at. Just gonna go, and I'm good. Okay, cool. Let's fix this up a bit. We're gonna move that over. Whoopsie. My bad. No biggie. We're gonna move that over, and we're gonna adjust some of these little points over here, and we're going to fix that. Maybe move this up and down a little bit over here. Move that like that. Alright, cool. Looks good. Now you can see it follows the subject. I might even move this one just to tilt it just a bit. And now it's going to follow however he moves. I'm going to go back to where it lights up again. Boom, there we go. Lights up. Move it like that. This is going to travel up the arm a little bit more. This is going to stay like this. This is going to move over. Alright, bring this in a bit. Whoops, bring that down a bit. Alright. And now we can see this is moving even more closer to how the guy is. We're going to go to the next gunshot. There we go. And this one is kind of an easy fix. I'm just going to bring this one down. Gonna bring these down. Bring this out. Bring these up. Bring... Nope, that's not what I want to do. Undo that. Come on. There we go. Sometimes my clicker likes to click the wrong thing. Alright, there we go. That's what I wanted. I wanted my box. Awesome. Alright. Be careful with what you're clicking, because sometimes you do click the wrong thing, and it can be frustrating if you have no idea what you're doing. Believe me. Alright, cool. That works. Perfect. And then we got one more. I'm going to bring this down. Gonna not do that, and I'm going to do that. There we go. Gonna bring these up like this. Maybe drag this in a little bit more over that. These over here can kind of be a little bit more into it. This, bring it down. Alright, there we go. That is our track right there. Perfect. Now we got that, and that looks pretty good. You know what? I kind of want to make this a little bit more visible. There we go. Yeah, only because... I mean, it kind of needs to be visible. It's a freaking gun. You want to be able to see that. Alright. I'll double check it just in case, but I think that's going to have to be a little bit more visible. Alright, we're going to do the same exact thing. Mass path on number 2, and we're going to track this one. This one should be pretty easy. All I'm going to do is match it up with where the center is of the gun. Flash, and we're going to track it there. Basically line up the center where it is. And probably make this one a little bit bigger because it's closer. Bring it down. And this one really low. And forward. Okay, cool. So now we got that. These are tracked perfectly. Alright, now here is the biggest thing. We got to make sure that this lights up when the muzzle flare does. Because we don't want to do it all the time, otherwise it's just there and it doesn't make any sense. So, we're going to hit this layer. We're not going to use the mask opacity because these both have different opacities. That's going to make it much harder than we need to do. So we don't need that. We're going to use the layer opacity. Hit T. Keyframe that. Just like we did before. And every time it lights up, it's going to be 100%. And when it doesn't light up, I'm going to give it 2 frames, and then I'm going to bring it down. Then I'm going to bring it back up. 1, 2, down. Here it is. Always make sure that you have one extra room for it, because this right here is 0. If we make this one 100%, guess what this middle thing is going to be? It's going to be 50. I want this to be 0, because I want it to really pop when it comes up. Even right here, I gotta bring this down to 0. I did it, and I didn't even want to. So always make sure you get that. You want to keyframe this every second, so it really looks like it's popping. 2, 0. Except for the fall off. We do want it to be gradual when it does go away, but we only want it to pop when it explodes. There we go. I hope that makes sense, but you can always do whatever you need to do, because it's your project, not mine. That's what I do, and I think it looks best that way. This one just comes right after it. Alrighty. And that's it. That is our effect. I think, let's just watch it and see if we have anything else to say. There we go, that's going off. Alright, so I'm noticing one thing. It looks cool. Yes, it does. I think it's a little bit too intense, and the thing on the side is a little bit too sharp. It's not wide enough. And you know what? Just for the hell of it, I'm gonna see what this looks like. I'm gonna see what this looks like. 1, 2, boom. 1, 2. All right, we're gonna see what this looks like. And I don't like that. So we're going to undo that. I don't like it. Trial and error. What are you going to do? Trial and error. That's the everything about this entire thing. Okay, cool. Alright, I like that better, but it still doesn't change my idea on how I want this. So we're going to go back to the mask. We're going to go to mask 2. And I'm going to expand this mask really big. And I'm going to bring down the opacity a lot. We're going to bring down the opacity on this one too, up here. On my body, or the subject's body. And you know what? He has a shiny mask on right here. So we're gonna draw another mask on this thing right here. And we're gonna lock the first two so I don't accidentally mess those up. And we're gonna angle this so it goes directly on to this mask, and we're gonna put that there. We're gonna do that, cut this a bit, perfect, and then we're gonna keyframe this one, mask path. We're gonna go every time it lights up. This one you gotta be a little bit intense. You gotta be a little bit exact, because if you're not exact, it's gonna look really bad. But I did realize this will probably reflect a lot more than any of the other stuff we have here, and I really gotta make sure that shows. It's very subtle, but it will, in real life, it would reflect more than anything else. What does that look like? We're gonna move this over here. We're gonna move this over here. Alright, cool. Alright, bring this up. Bring this one up. Angle this to turn it. And the reason why, I think as you can already tell, there is already a mask on top of this one. This is basically just making it light up even more, which is very good because we want it to look like this is shiny and reflective. Want to make it look like it's very extreme. Cool. Alright, so we got that. Let's see what that looks like. As obviously it's not been feathered out yet, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to feather this out a bit, and there we go. Bing, bing, boom, 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 boom. Yes, very subtle. I like how the thing on the wall is a little bit less, and my mask is nice. One thing I am going to do is I'm actually going to copy this mask. I'm going to do this. I'm going to duplicate this layer right here, and I'm going to copy the mask, and I'm going to get rid of these two. And I'm going to leave this one right here. And I'm going to go on to this one. I'm going to get rid of the 3. And I'm going to have 3 on top of this one only. So now we have basically exactly the same thing we just had before. Except I moved the mask over. So now we got the first 2 masks right here on the bottom layer. And we have the 3rd mask on the mask. On his mask on this layer up here. And I'm going to go to our effects and presets. I'm going to type in glow. Gonna put glow, and I'm gonna put it on that layer right there, and we are going to make it glow a little bit. So right there, that's a good shot. We're gonna maybe bring down the threshold a little bit, get the radius, bring that out, bring the threshold up a little bit more actually. Radius, bring this down. There we go. That's kind of glowing off. Intensity. Yeah, about there, about there. Okay, cool. And what does that look like? The before and after. Okay, cool. That looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Let's see what that looks like, if it's overdone or not. No, it is not. I don't think it is. Alright, one final thing I want to do is I want to look at all 3 of these. I'm going to go to curves. Once again, we're going to bring curves on top of this layer. And we're going to bring up the reds because it's fiery. It is a fire. Yes, all the rest of the lights are not fiery, but this is a fiery. And we're going to bring down the blues and just kind of make this a little bit yellow. Just a very fine bit. Just a very fine bit. So it just kind of makes it a little bit warmer. Not warm. I'm going to copy this curve. I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to put it on top of this layer. And now we got this curve. And now that kind of makes that more of a yellowishy glow as well. And we're going to watch this back. And you know what? I think we just got ourselves a very nice little trick right there. We can improve on this further, but that is the basics. I probably elaborated a little bit too much actually for this simple tutorial, but that is how this effect is done. This is actually going to be the exact same effect that is done in the actual short film right here. I just did it right now with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this somewhat 30-minute long tutorial. Alright, have a good day. Bye bye.